Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Reaper Experience. My name is Percy Jules, and in this video I'd like to talk about something that to many may seem very insignificant, but can really make a huge difference when it comes to mixing music. Today I'd like to talk about mixing in mono, and a little tool in Reaper that can play a big role in this. Now, some amazing effects can be achieved by creating differences between the left and right channels of individual tracks or the master track within a stereo mix. Now, one way to do this, for example, is by adjusting the pan control settings of some of the tracks, thereby assigning more of either the left or the right of the signal to the mix. Now, another way is to add some insert effects that also influence the behavior of the signal within the stereo field, like a reverb or a stereo delay, for instance. But when it comes down to really mixing music, so blending all the tracks together to form a cohesive song, it is very advisable to do so in mono, or for at least some part of the mixing session. And there are many reasons for this. Now, first of all, you need to understand that when you switch from listening to your mix in stereo to listening in mono, it is going to sound different. And the difference can be very substantial. Now, with that in mind, you need to know that most people, most of the time, either listen to music in mono or at least perceive it as mono. Now, for that reason alone, making sure that your mix sounds good in mono would be a very wise thing to do. Now, another thing to note is that when you mix a song while only listening to it in stereo, in the end it might sound perfect to you. But if you then switch to mono, chances are that it's not anymore going to sound all that perfect at all. But when you mix a song in mono and then switch to stereo, it most probably is going to sound even better than it did in mono. Which, when you think about it, shouldn't be all that surprising, because when you switch from mono to stereo, you add a sonic dimension to your mix. And the opposite is also true. When you switch from stereo to mono, you remove a dimension. And when you remove a dimension, obviously it will be harder to give every instrument its own space and make them all clearly perceptible in the mix. So if you mix in mono and you manage to make it sound good, if you then switch to stereo, you will give all instruments even more room to exist in. Which means that not only all instruments will have their own space to live in, another dimension will be added in which instruments can be moved around, making it possible to add some nice effects to your mix. So that are some of the reasons why. Now let's talk about how. There are many different plugins you can use to sum your stereo mix to mono. Now in Reaper it is extremely easy to do that because it actually has this function built into it. On the master track there is a dedicated button to switch this function on or off. By the way, keep in mind that this function has 4 options. And if you right click here on this button, you can switch options. If you select left, only the left channel of your stereo mix will be sent to both speakers. If you select right, obviously only the right channel will be sent to both speakers. If you select left minus right, you will only hear the difference between the left and right channel coming out of the speakers. And finally, there is the option left plus right. Now what this will do is send both the left and right channel to both the left and right speaker. This is the default option, and in the context of what I've been talking about today, in most cases, this is the option you want to select when you want to mix in mono. And when you do this, there is one more thing you should know. Even if you switch to mono, as long as both of your speakers are on, you still could be experiencing some kind of stereo effect. Because unless the distance between the left speaker and your left ear is exactly the same as the distance between the right speaker and your right ear, which is virtually impossible, the music is going to hit your left ear and your right ear at different moments. And this could cause some kind of stereo effect. So if you're going to mix in mono, it is advisable to turn off one of your speakers so that the music is coming from just one speaker, which preferably is situated right in front of you. Okay, so if you haven't already, go experiment with this and you will soon discover that this will definitely help you to lift the quality of your mixes to a higher level. So, that's it for now. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching and I will talk to you soon.